Boom! Hello, world! Hi! Welcome back to Explorers of Elsewhere's Tales from Elsewhere. Hi. Hi, I'm DM Dan. I'm joined by Theo, Georgia, Livy, and Dan. Hello. And we're going to play some Daggerheart for your little eye holes. Because we're kind like that. We're really generous with our Daggerhearts. We are playing through a mystery mansion murder written by I think I might have been really bad and forgotten to attribute this to the author. But this is an adventure written by the illustrious Alagomar on Reddit. So if you happen to be watching this, Alagomar, you're a champ. You're a star. The investigation is afoot. The four of you have been let loose in this mansion. You have discovered that you only have 5 meagre hours before the mansion and the magic that sustains it disappears, unceremoniously jettisoning you onto the hill that this wizard's tower stands on. And along with the mansion will go all of the evidence to find out who did a murder. The first half was exciting enough that we have been blessed by Daisy. So she's joining us. Just gonna swing her around to get a few more views. But yes, you've started your investigations. You've heard a scream. Okay, bye, Daisy. You've heard a scream from somewhere in the mansion, and you've tracked it down to the basement, where you found the chef desperately trying to get away from what appears to be a zombie-like creature of some sort. Who would like to watch the intro video and get back into it?
Yeah.
Let's go. All across the unknown world, rediscovery pushes ever onwards to find the lands and people lost. All thanks to our brave explorers.
Hi, I'm Dan, and I'm playing Vanya, the Wolfkin Warrior.
Hey, I'm Livy. I'm going to be playing Rayri, the Sprite Ranger.
Hi, my name's Theo, and I'm playing Cal, the Sangavar Guardian.
I'm Georgia, and I will be playing Elfric Stormborn, a Dragon Scent Bard.
And my name is DM Dan. I'll be the GM in these adventures. The further we go, the more we learn of these magical tales from elsewhere. Boom. And so, battle music. We find the four of you in a basement. This shambling undead-like creature has just lurched out of what appears to be an iron bar holding cell of some sort in one corner of this basement. It's already taken a swipe at you, Cal, with some unusually long talon-like claws. And as the other three of you kind of drop down through the trapdoor into this basement, on the other side in the other corner of the room, you can see the chef currently cowering and kind of scrunched up in the corner, seemingly having just discovered this fiend, this creature. But as it takes a swing at you, Cal stumbles a few steps and then rights itself as it whips this long snake-like tongue at you all. Who's going first?
I mean, it's attacking me, so I should probably go first.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah,
Go, Cal, go.
Thematically, I am the one being attacked.
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, did it actually try to hit me?
It did. I mean, I can roll for you if you like.
Yeah, only because I have a thing that I haven't had to try yet. So if he wants to try and hit me, he is more than welcome.
Sure thing. It's going to roll a d20 plus 1 for a grand total of 9.
So my evasion is 9?
Beats it.
Beats it. Okay, so it does hit you.
Okay.
And it hits you for Some of... You know what? Have we ever discussed how much of a meanie DM Dan is?
We would never call you a meanie.
Would you never call me a meanie? Because what
are you doing?
What DM Dan's going to do is spend one of these fear that he's got, and he's going to spend fear. Let me just double check. I swear I can use it to do a bit more damage unless they've taken that away from me. Have they taken that away? It looks like they've taken it away from me. Never mind. I'm going to have my fear back. Right, I'm going to go back up to 3. It's going to do normal attack against you, Cal, for 2d6 plus 5. Boom. 14 damage.
Okay. So I know how this works. So that would count as... So my minor damage is 8 and my severe damage is 20.
Mm-hmm.
So I can... I'm going to look at what I understand I can do. I think if I could take an armor slot, I can reduce... That's how it works, right?
Yeah, so spend an armor slot. What's the number on your armor score? What's your armor score?
7.
So you can reduce that damage by 7 with an armor slot.
Cool. Okay.
To bring it down to 7, which I'm assuming is now within your minor.
Yes, and then I can mark
threshold.
1 HP. Okay.
And you could even spend another armor slot to reduce it to 0 and take no damage. If you
That's true. However, I wanted to see what this does. So, as part of the Vengeance subclass, when you are hit by an enemy in melee range, immediately roll a number of d6 equal to the amount of hit points you marked. For each result of 5+, deal a hit point back to the enemy. So I basically get to roll a d6, and if it's higher than if it's higher than 5, they take a hit point, I think. So I'm gonna try that. So I get to roll 1d6.
Okay.
And if it's higher than 5, I think you take... Yeah, roll a number of d6 equal to the amount of hit points you marked. For each result of 5+, deal a hit point. So yeah, let's just go for it. Let's see what happens. Hey! You take 2 hit points as part of my subclass.
Okay, is it 2 or just 1, sorry? Was it not like...
So, each result of 5+, deal a hit point back to the enemy, so I assume as a 6. So, that's 5 and 6, right?
No, it'll be a 5 on a 5+, you reflect it back.
And is it just the 1d6,
Yeah,
that you're rolling?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so you spent the armor. So yeah, as this thing's basically swiped at you, describe to me what happens. Like, how did you bounce damage back?
I feel like as it swipes at me, I think Cal was already trying to get his sword out of his scabbard as the swipe happened. Mm-hmm. So as he swiped, Cal comes up and uses the pommel of his sword to get the zombie, as it were, in the face and push him back.
Okay. In which case, yeah, it rocks back as you kind of smash it in the head. Part of its skull cracks under the blow, and like horrifyingly, it seems to sort like pull. The skull seems to split in 2, and then you watch as the muscles underneath seem to be like there's red sinewy muscle that's stretching as the skull splits in 2, but you notice that it's like every so often there's almost like green strands that's running along, like in and amongst the muscle of this creature, and you watch as these kind of green tendrils seemingly almost like reach out to the part that's breaking away and pull it back into place as it staggers a few steps back, and then it kind of shakes its head. The small clumps of hair that's still on its head kind of flap around wetly, yeah, that's it for its turn. So now we move on to Cal for his turn.
So Cal's actual turn is going to be, to just hit it with my longsword.
Okay.
I basically roll my usual hope, right, and then add +3. Is that correct? I always forget how this works.
That's it. That's correct.
So yeah, cool. So I add +3 basically. So let's roll and +3. So that's a 20 with hope.
20 with hope. So if nothing else, you go up to 4 hope, and that is extremely a hit.
Amazing. That's good. So my damage is 2d8 +3, and then I believe, just to double check, something on here. Okay, cool. So I didn't activate this earlier. I probably should have done. I want to activate Unstoppable.
Okay.
Which is once per long rest, you can choose to become unstoppable. It says I gain resistance to physical damage, but that's fine. I've already just had the fight. That's fine. Increase your armor score by your proficiency. That's fine. At the current value of your unstoppable die, which will be 1 at this moment.
Yeah.
To your damage die in total. So okay, cool. So basically, whatever I roll, which is damage is 2d8 +3, is actually now +4.
Okay.
So from my unstoppable die, and then I think that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to save any of the rallying stuff for later. So yeah, my damage will be rolled now, which is 14.
14. Okay. Describe to me, as years of experience kick in and you deliver this body breaking blow with your sword. Describe to me what happens.
Sure. Well, I feel so he's obviously used the pommel originally to push the zombie back, flicked his sword back round, and almost like this man was a soldier for so long, it is almost on autopilot as he just kind of swings back around with his sword and just carves into this kind of zombie side quite heavily, and brings the sword back. So not only does he swing in, he then pulls it back towards himself. So there's quite a gaping wound.
Okay.
In this zombie side.
You know, as your sword bites deep into the flesh, and the zombie is almost bisected at the waist, and the top half of it lurches sideways, in response to your blow. Vanya, there's a part of you that's no, because it was clearly a killing blow. And then Cal, as you withdraw your sword, you look up for a moment and notice that this zombie that's kind of split in half, these green tendrils then sprout out of its lower half and seemingly grab the top half of its torso and pull it back into place. And what you would have suspected would have been major damage actually only seems to have been superficial at best. And the creature looks to you as it pulls itself back, but the momentum of it kind of snapping to again, seemingly regenerating, makes its head loll from looking at you, Cal, to looking at Alfric. And for a stress, it's going to reactivate and lunge at you, Alfric.
Okay.
It's going to both of its arms come out, like reach out at you, and these claws, these quite kind of frightening looking claws arcing towards you. It's going to roll a d20 plus 1, and I roll a 20 to hit.
Oh, sorry. Do I roll a?
No, is that... I'm expecting that's higher than your evasion.
Your evasion score.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, my evasion is 11.
In which case, like, its arms wrap around you as it comes in close, and quite worryingly, it appears to be attempting to... Well, it bites you for 11 damage.
Oof.
So, if you want to reduce that with any of your armor slots, you can. So you'll have a number of armor slots on your character sheet. Probably about six of them, maybe.
Yes, I believe so.
What's your armor score? What's
0.
the number on your arm? You 0.
Unless I feel like, am I wearing?
I just, well.
Currently on my character sheet it says 0 armor, armor slots.
Have you equipped
0 of 6.
any armor? So in your so if you look at your equipment, you'll be able to see all your gear in within the equipment section, and there'll be some tick boxes.
Yes.
Well, some squares that you can select to equip that gear. So any like weapons or armor.
I
if you want to equip those,
like 2.
Yes. My apologies to
That's
stream.
all right.
This is my first time fighting anything in Daggerheart.
No, we're all here to help each other.
It's when I click it, it doesn't give me the option to put it on.
No, it just, you click the square, and as
Yes.
long as it highlights it in a yellow, that's it. That your armor score should change to whatever that armor is. So
Yes.
it might be a 1, a 2, a 3.
Was it
It's
like...
not
What
giving me the option.
what armor
What
type
armor
is
is it?
It's Gambison armor.
Gambison.
I think Gambison, like the lowest.
Yes, I am above.
Base score 3, I think. Base score
So it
3.
gives you plus 1 to evasion.
Sure.
Which
Okay,
wouldn't have helped.
so, each armor slot that you expend, it will reduce this damage by 3, and then you compare it to your major and severe damage thresholds.
Yes.
So what are your thresholds, out of curiosity?
What's the numbers? It will say minor damage, then a square with a number, and then major damage, a square with the number, and severe damage. It will be just below evasion and armor, and then you. look below
minor
hit
damage
points
is
of
6.
stress.
Major damage is 16.
Cool. Okay, so, so you're not going to be suffering like severe damage, so no need to worry about that. Fundamentally, so you can reduce this damage in chunks of 3, like 1 per armor slot, and that will come off this damage total. So obviously, if you spend 1 armor slot, it will reduce the damage to 8. If you spend 2 armor slots, it will reduce it to 5, and so on. So you could spend 2 armor slots to reduce it low enough to then only take minor damage, and then,
But then that would reduce it to 1 minor slot. 1 armor
hit
slot.
point.
1 hit point, correct?
Okay.
Correct.
Yes.
So we can
I'll-
expect that this zombie type creature's just got a mouthful of ruffle.
I'll do that. I'll spend those 2
Okay.
armor slots.
So,
In which case, as you sort of like pull away, it grabs, it bites a mouthful of, like, the claws have dug into you, and you can feel them sort of like piercing through your the fabric on your shoulders, but as the creature's teeth clamp down, it just kind of bites at your cravat, and like it unfurls and tightens slightly as you pull away. So you've taken 1 hit point worth of damage, as you've only reduced it down to minor. I'm going to stop being mean now. Who wants to go next?
Seeing Alfric just get chomped on, I think Vanya will just grab Alfric's shoulder and switch places, pulling Alfric back behind me, and in that momentum, pulling Alfric back, he will then the button clasp unclips, the overall cloak just flings back behind his shoulders, revealing his manly abs.
Manly abs.
As this rocket punch comes towards the creature with these stone gauntlets.
There's a moment when he poses and kisses a bicep. Mwah.
Yeah.
A magical wind machine turns on.
Yes. Alfric, you appear to have a bottle of baby oil in your hands.
Yeah. I've got you. As this stone primal gauntlet goes arcing towards this creature.
Okay.
There's a +3 to on the hit, so let's go. It is a 22, 23, so 25 with hope, and I'm gonna not take the hope, and I'm gonna add it to my player pool. So I'm still on 3 hope. And I am going to roll some damage. I'm not going to spend that Slayer token yet. Right, so it's 2d10 plus 3.
Ooh.
18 points of magical damage.
18 points.
As that rocket punch comes towards this creature's face to try and push its face into the bars behind it to smush it. Alfred, you will see from the gauntlets this flurry of wind and cold primal energy disperses from the gauntlet.
Very good. As you sort of like knock, as your fist connect, you were going for the head, right?
Yeah.
As this fist connects with its sort of like cheekbone, you feel the bone underneath kind of give way, and there's an unpleasant squelchiness to it, and there, like, you feel like there's nowhere near as much resistance as you were expecting, and it takes you a moment to register that you've punched this thing hard enough that the top half of its skull has detached, and like your fist is kind of carrying it along, and as that happens and you're sort of like arcing over it, its body, you see these kind of viney like tendrils reaching out from sort of like its jaw, as if it's reaching up to kind of grab the top of the skull and pull it back, but they don't do it quick enough to stop your fist then wedging the top half of the skull between your fist and the bars of the cage behind it, and with a splotch and a zits pops like splatter of brain and kind of goop, the top half of the skull is mulched against the side of the cage, and as
slightly frozen too.
Like as you finish the blow and you hear the dong as your hand hits the metal of the cage, the bottom half of the body then sort of like spasms for a moment and then collapses to the ground, and the green vine-like tentacles that are erupting out of its body just sort of like immediately go limp and then begin to sort of like shrivel and wither back into the creature's body. But you halving that 18 down to 9 is still enough for 1 point of damage, and the creature is slain.
With this, and the creature just slumps to the floor, just dying. I just kind of turn around, like slow mo, and just like, You just aim for the head. Usually does the trick.
Alfric is in awe.
As Vanya says this to Alfric, Cal and Rayri, you look at this creature and you watch as it, like, the vine-like tentacles that were coming out of the bottom half of its head, and say they've started to like wither and shrivel, but the whole creature just seems to sort of like be desiccating in front of your eyes until it looks like nothing more than a withered husk. But yeah, the creature's no longer moving. It's abundantly clear in this moment that whatever those green kind of tendrils were, that wasn't normal. But yeah, I mean, I guess you're in an Archmage's mansion, so perhaps normal isn't to be expected all that much.
What is normal?
As that happens, you hear a voice from above you, Cal. Is everything okay down there? And you look up and see the paladin, who was kind of following behind you, peering down the trapdoor to you all in the basement. Who? Do you know who? Have you found who it was screaming? Oh, you're muted.
You're muted, Theo.
I'm here now. Sorry.
Hello.
I think Cal calls up like, it's being dealt with. The chef is with us.
As you say that, you look back to the corner where the chef was, and she is gone. As you take a step round to see where she is, because like between you and the other side of the room is a wall with like a dividing wall with a number of kind of pantry-like shelves attached to it. But you notice that there is another trapdoor at the other end of this basement room, and what appears to be a small like rope ladder is draped down from the trapdoor and kind of dangling across the floor. So it looks like in the furore of that sudden burst of excitement, the chef has managed to kind of escape out of the basement.
Do we know where that goes?
Not yet.
Can I open the trapdoor?
You can. Let me just rearrange the cat for maximum views. Daisy, you need to. You're too flat. You're too pancake.
Loaf.
There we go. Yeah, that's a money shot. Yes, you can absolutely have a little gander. If anyone else is looking, then yeah, by all means, let me know and I'll move in there.
I think just before I go across, I'll call up to the paladin to explain that we're trying to find the chef. We think she's gone a little bit further down.
Sure. I'll keep a lookout for her. The paladin responds, and then her shadow kind of disappears. And then she, shall I close the trapdoor?
No.
She's already halfway to like closing it, and then I'll leave it open, she says, and then leaves it be.
Thank you.
So as the four of you kind of follow up through the other trapdoor, let me just move you all over. Oh. You emerge into what appears to be a laboratory. The laboratory lies somewhere in the mix of workshop, alchemical research facility, and studio, with flasks, scrolls, and tools on all matter of shelves and tables. There is a biting chemical smell in this room, but it's difficult to tell where it's coming from with how cluttered the room is. Open tomes and ongoing experiments are scattered throughout the room, but only about half of them are labelled. You notice as you enter in that the door... You're in this small kind of laboratory. There is a door at the other side of the room which is open. And like as you peer through the open door down the corridor, there's a green carpeted corridor. Into a room further down, you see the three figures of Agatha Bendel and Mayor Montgomery. They appear to be stood in what looks like a library. But otherwise, yeah, you seem to be in a laboratory of some sorts. What do you do?
I guess is that the dog? I guess Vanier's not very good with paperwork. So I was like, someone might want to check the desk. Guess I'll scatter ahead. Talk to the people beyond. And yeah, I'll start walking my way out. As I'm walking, is there any signs of the chef, or like any doors that have been just closed, or partially open as I'm walking along?
There isn't. As you head into this sort of like green carpeted hallway, you find yourself at a T-junction with a long corridor running to your right. And this is a corridor of doors, you notice. With you stopped at the kind of the junction, you're right next to a wooden door. All the doors are frustratingly similar in appearance, but looking down the long corridor to your right, you see three sets of two doors kind of either side, heading down. You suspect, you have a fleeting suspicion that perhaps, given the number of doors in such close proximity to one another, this must be like the bedrooms of some sort. Which means, by your reckoning, there are 7 bedrooms in this area. Immediately in front of you, through an open door, you see the three figures of Agatha, Bendel, and Montgomery, and the three of them are kind of clustered together, and they're sort of like talking to one another quite intently. At the far end of the long corridor, you see another open door, which you spot the telltale sign of the white marble of the entrance. And as you try to figure out what's happening, you feel like you've emerged on the other side of the mansion. And perhaps that basement was like a bridge, but space seems somewhat relative. As you open the door immediately to your left, you see what looks to be a rather plain, a very clean and extremely plain bedroom.
Does anyone else want to do anything at this moment, as I've just walked off and entered this space?
Yeah, Alfric and Cal, you're still in the laboratory. Is there anything you're looking, investigating while you're here?
I think Alfric would be following along down this corridor.
Okay.
So, well, there we go. He's there.
Okay. So yeah, you following behind Vanya, and fundamentally everything I've just described you see as well. Cal, are you stopping to smell the roses, or?
I think Cal is going to see if he can read anything. Like, his knowledge isn't, like, he's not a knowledgeable man, but he may notice something in the papers that might be of use. So I think he's going to just take a glance at some of these papers and see if they mean anything.
Sure. Which ability would you like to use?
Sorry. Late day. Right. I think I'm just going to roll knowledge. It's a straight roll. It's just a +0.
Sure. Okay.
Go double check if there's anything else I can do. I don't think there is.
So I think if you're going knowledge, then perhaps it's you're trying to comprehend these kind of you're almost trying to comprehend the science of what is on the bits that you have in front of you. Yeah, go by all means.
Sure. Right. Okay. Let's see what happens if I roll. So that is a 17 with fear.
17 with fear. Okay. It's difficult to pass like what's on all, like the laboratory is kind of all over the place. So like as you pick up some of the books and some of the like the scrolls and the research papers, like you're trying to figure out, you know, the meaning behind them. But yeah, you find what appears to be like a number of lab notes on like various experiments. Get the push in shot. There she is. But there's one off the back of a 17, was it? Yeah. So off the back of a 17, there's one in particular that catches your eye. It's a set of lab notes that read, "In the Grand Garden Temple of the Holoran jungles, recovered a dark crystal. Must have been valuable as the druids were willing to sell their lives to protect it. Extensive research has been done on the crystal in an attempt to harvest its power. Unfortunately, nothing was able to be extracted before cracks began to form and it was reduced to a trivial trophy."
Interesting.
And as you read that, you all of you, so the four of you hear a rather ominous boom, and you look at a nearby clock on a wall, Cal, and realise that another hour has passed. There are 4 hours left until midnight. As a complication of your fear.
Okay. I'm just going to pick up that lab note and put it in a pocket.
Sure.
In case it's useful.
Is Ravy having a little snoop, or is she chasing after the others?
Can I look at the books? Is there books on the table?
Yes.
Can I have a little look at the bookies?
Yeah, I might ask for a knowledge roll.
Oh, I'm great at that.
Yeah, just to see if you like understand what it is you're reading.
I know loads about magical books. See?
So 12 with hope, so that takes you up to 3 hope. Cool. So the ones, the books, as you kind of look across, you peer up and look across this tabletop, there appears to be a triplet of tomes that seem to be kind of they're in a position where like they're either more important or they're reached to more often. And it's a 3-tome set. The first one is named Exploring a New Power Source. It's a 3-tome set detailing the basic nature of primal artifacts, and as well as some preliminary and kind of almost reactionary research. The book itself looks, quite new. Primal energy, as you collectively know it, has only been around for the past kind of year and a half, ever since pretty much the end of the eschaton, the end of the war. But even so, as you peer through these books, you can see a lot of very kind of scribbly handwritten notes in the margins, and like a lot of the notes are sort of either refuting some of the things that are being said, or like sections are circled with "must explore further" like written next to it, and so on and so forth. So you get the impression that the handwritten notes belonged to Ulick. But yeah, between that and what Cal has found, it would seem that Ulick has been doing a lot of research into primal energy.
Magic. Yeah. Okay.
So, flicking over to Vanier and Alfric. Yeah, you're still, if you're still kind of in chase mode, as I say, you can see the 3 stood in the entryway to the library, Bendel, Agathar, and Montgomery. I mean, you have a look through looking through the door to your left into this bedroom, that appears to be empty. All the doors along this corridor are closed. The only open door is to the foyer that you first entered. So you suspect that if, unless the chef has slipped between these 3 and is in the library, you suspect that she might have headed back to the foyer.
Okay. And even though there's a bedroom that's open, is there any telling of like anyone's belongings or anything inside that room?
You note that. Give me an instinct.
Yeah.
Give me an instinct roll.
Okay, +2. I'm not gonna add anything on this one. 10, 11, +2, 13 with hope.
13 with hope.
And I'm gonna add that to my Slayer die, so
Okay.
I don't take the extra hope.
Sure. So you stay on 3.
Yeah.
You, like, the room is so plain and tidy. Like, it's difficult to gauge whose it might be from the contents. And it's only when you look a little bit closer at the bed that it dawns on you that the bed is quite short and quite low to the ground. And there appears to be almost like a small... You know when you have, like, old dogs or cats in the house, so you get them the little steps to help them get on the sofa?
Mm.
Fundamentally one of those at the side of the bed. So in this moment, you kind of... It tweaks. This is probably Bendel's room.
Yeah. As these 3 are still sort of talking, and I realise that Alfric's following, I'll just quickly turn and say, I think this is Bendel's room. Do we look, or do we go talking to these 3 over here, or do we try and find the cook?
I was going to listen at the door.
Listen at these doors down the corridor, or do you mean listen to their conversation?
Their conversation.
I'm going to move out the way because I'm not very sneaky. So I sidestep.
Alfric is delighted that you think he is.
He doesn't know your skill set. He's like, you got to prove yourself. You've got this.
As Vanier steps aside, and kind of says like, "You got this," and gives you, giving you like a thumbs up. Alfric, you take one step forward, and the floor underfoot creaks loud enough that the three in the library turn to look at you, like all three heads turn in unison. And the Wolfkin mage like scrutinizes you for a moment, and then, "It would be unwise to sneak around. People might get a bit jumpy."
I wasn't sneaking. I was walking politely.
The mage like studies you for a moment, and then you see like this old wrinkly goblin head peer around the corner, and then you hear the goblin, oh no, and then he very slowly, very ominously walks towards you.
Can I quickly close the door on him?
Wait, are you talking about his bedroom door you're gonna close?
I was gonna, if he was already not through the door into the corridor, I was going to close the library door.
I mean, you can if you like. You can if you like. Yeah, if you're just like, oh, yeah, if that's what you'd like. As the goblin like peers around and he sort of like takes him a little while to sort of like nudge Agatha out the way, but yeah, if you want to very quickly scoot forward and close the door on him.
Terribly sorry.
Okay, so you scoot forward, and then Bendel sort of like looking up to you and, "Oh, someone's left my bedroom door." And you hear a slight thunk as the door hits this goblin in the forehead. And like, there's just this awkward moment of perfect silence. And then, "Did she just close the door on us?" "Yes, I think he did." Bloody hell. Yeah, Vanya, you've just seen an exemplary display of stealth and misdirection. Africa, you back away. It's back to the intersection, and like the three of them just appear to be in the library now, closed in the library.
We should possibly check the room.
You want to check Bendel's room?
Everyone's a suspect.
Sure. After you.
He'll go into
Sure. Well, as you step into Bendel's room, and tell you what, roll me a let's call it a, I guess you're trying to perceive, right? So yeah, roll me an instinct.
I had +0 to instinct.
Okay.
That was 10 hope.
14. So you got the 4.
Oh yeah, so 14.
14 with hope.
With hope.
Hope.
And sorry, but did you have a modifier to it? Sorry.
No.
No. Okay, 14 with hope. So the first thing that strikes you as you step into this room is that it smells like old goblin. And for anyone who's like watching or playing, I'll let you in your heads imagine what the stank of old goblin is like. Okay, because arguably, whatever you can think of, whatever you can imagine, that's what old goblin smells like. But like, yeah, as you look around, and as I say, it's very simple. There's no personal belongings that you can see. The bed is neatly made. The little steps that's up to the bed, that's been kind of neatly placed. It's not kind of skew or anything. Like, everything is in perfect order in this room, and it is unbearably plain and like empty. There is nothing of note beyond the bed, the quilts, the pillows, the chest of drawers that you suspect has got old goblin underwear in it, like really big, like pants. You can almost picture there's a drawer of like identical purple butler suits. Like, this room is chef's kiss. Yeah, the walls are plain. There are no windows. The room is lit by a couple of candles that seem magical in nature. It's more eerie how plain this is.
Alfric is faintly disappointed.
Yeah.
This is his first time leading the investigation, and he's encountered this room.
Yes, this is the most uninteresting room you've ever witnessed in your life.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
Depending on what others are doing.
We'll tell you what, let's quickly switch back. Cal, you are currently are you still in the laboratory, or are you chasing after?
I think at this point, once he's done the reading, I think he will follow after Ray.
Okay.
See what's happening.
Sure. In which case, yeah, you find Alfric stood in a very plain room. It strikes you almost as like militaristically tidy. Be Ravy, what are you doing?
I see that Alfric has gone in Bendel's room, and she's just like, "Oh, we're doing great, brilliant!" And she just runs down the corridor. Any minute, I'm gonna go in this morning. And she just opens up this door here.
Okay. You run down the corridor and loudly announce you're opening the second door on the left. And
roommates.
In here is a bedroom that has the same colour carpet as the room at the end that Alfric stood in, but this one is somewhat smaller. Unlike the Bendel's room at the far end, this room is full of dirty dishes and dirty cups and dirty plates and dirty cutlery, just some of them in sort of like washing tub basins, a lot of them just stacked up, like precariously balanced on top of pots, like cooking pots, and like the place is a state. There's a sort of a clear path from the door to the bed, but even on the bed there are plates and cups and bowls just kind of scattered around. You can see that some seemingly are the dirty crockery is kind of almost pushed to one side of the bed, so it seems like this rather generous looking double bed, only one half of it is used. The rest of it as well as the room is occupied by dirty kitchen utensils and crockery.
Oh. Someone hasn't done the washing up for a while then. Can I have a look? Maybe like under the bed, see if there's just like to have a look around.
Sure, yeah. Give me an instinct. Like an instinct perceive. Instinct perceive or... I suppose there's no, like, investigation, really, is there? I suppose knowledge. Knowledge, perhaps, but yeah, more likely instinct.
Shit. I mean, that was terrible. 6. 7.
Okay.
With fear.
The room is so cluttered. Like, you lift up a couple of plates, like, you look under the bed, and it's like, you realise that there are pots, like, big cooking pots that have just been, like, rammed under the bed. And, like, as you pull out one, and then you immediately recoil, because it looks almost floral with how mouldy it is. Like, and you kind of look around, and there's one, and, like, whatever liquid is in that bowl has kind of started to congeal into this kind of brown slurry, and you just yeah. Unfortunately, you don't find anything, and I'll take the fear.
It's like she's looking round. She's spending more time trying to stop Vinny from licking any of the mouldy pots. Sure. Opens a pot. She's like, no, and just like grabs his head, trying to like remove him from trying to like eat a load of mouldy meat. And she's like, no.
I tell you what, I won't take the fear. I'm not going to take the fear. What I am going to do is that Vanier, from behind you, and sort of like to your, like, if you're I presume you're watching Rayri, so like behind you and to the left, you hear a door open, and you realise the door to the library has been opened, and you hear the voices of Agathar, Bendel, and Mayor Montgomery as they re-emerge. And Rayri and Cal, you can hear from down the way the voice of Agathar say, "What are you doing in Bendel's room?" As Alfric, you are caught red-handed by the trio.
Red-clawed.
Red-clawed, yes. Vanier seems to have been caught up in this as well. Cal, what are you doing? You've probably got a few seconds before they might notice you.
Can I literally just grab Rayri really quickly and just pull her out of the chef's room? So that she does, and then close the door, so it's like we haven't been in there. So like we've not, like...
Yeah.
Sure, okay. So
if you're grabbing me, I'm grabbing Vinny, and we're all just...
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. So yeah, like, there's a chain reaction of people grabbing people grabbing others, and like as you close the door, Cal, you see Agathar kind of arrive at the T-junction, and it's a bit rude to be barging around in people's bedrooms without permission, isn't it? And as he says that, Bendel steps forward and it's okay. Anything that will help find Master Alric's Ulix killer. But I can tell you, son, that there's nothing of interest in there.
I just, ticking people off the list, as you do. In that case, I suppose we wouldn't find anything if we were to just do a quick look around.
Bendel shrugs, given that you're already in his room.
Just standing in the doorway.
Agathar looks a bit kind of put out. Like, you see him kind of sneer a little bit. And then he... By all means, he says. And he points at the door to Vanier's left. So, this one here.
as I see him make that gesture, it's like, well, before we continue our search, is there anything that you found on your end that might be beneficial to this investigation?
The three of them sort of like look to one another, and Mayor Montgomery is the one that pipes up and says, "We have a couple of working theories, but we're keeping our cards somewhat close to our chest until we've found some more evidence. We wouldn't want to tip off the guilty party as to what it is we're looking into."
With that reaction, do I get the sense that they are being guarded because they don't trust us and they're trying to do their own investigation properly, or are they being, or do I get a sense they're being like guarded because they have ulterior motives and they're being shifty?
Roll me a...
Because it's almost like if I get a sense that they are genuinely trying to investigate like we are, it's less likely they are the ones who have committed the murder.
Okay, roll me an instinct.
Do you know what? I think I'm going to use my heightened senses again for this. I'm going to spend that hope just because I'm not... I really want to get a sense of these guys and really be clear on my opinion of them. So I've taken away hope. And so that gives me +2, so that's a +4 total for this roll. That was just my roll just now, wasn't it? So 11, so 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 with fear.
22 with fear. The mayor strikes you as the speed and the speed with which she answered your question and the sort of like the snippishness of it. You get this immediate impression that he responded quite impatiently. But it's a different sort of impatience to that of, say, the paladin, like the keeper paladin in the main room, who it was abundantly clear she was impatient to find the culprit. You can't quite put your finger on it, but yeah, the mayor, like the way the mayor kind of snaps at you almost, and then sort of like looks up to the other two and then looks back to you, like it seems like you're stopping them from doing something.
So yeah, but stopping them from doing something that might not necessarily be this investigation.
Yeah. Actually, off the back of a 22, you then spot him. Like his eyes, like he hasn't got, he's a sprite, so they don't have pupils, but you can still get a gauge for sort of like what direction they're looking in because of the sort of like the light in their eyes. And for the briefest of moments, you see him sort of like glance sideways back into the library, and then his head snaps back to you, as if he's like caught himself wandering and then brought his attention back.
Okay, so like he's looking back at the I caught his glance almost like nervously looking back at the library for whatever reason.
And
The
as,
judging. Oh, yeah,
well, so you catch that, and off the back of the fear, you then hear from the foyer behind you this resonant booming voice. Is everything okay down there? And Cal, you turn to see Stradivon stood at the end of the corridor to this kind of bedroom area. Like he's an imposing figure. He fills the whole door frame with his kind of stony features. But as he kind of says that and is looking at all of these people gathered in this corridor, Agathar says, yes, we're absolutely fine. In fact, we were just hoping to have a quick word with you, Stradivon. And before you get a chance, any of you get a chance to kind of protest, Agathar and Mayor Montgomery kind of push past you down the hall and kind of heads towards the foyer, and Bendel, who's just kind of like stood in the middle of it all, just, excuse me, I'll just be following them. And then he slowly...
That is fine.
Potters his way between you. And he stops when he gets to you, Rayri, and good dog, he says, kind of patting Rayri very decrepitly on the head. They're just like forehead smacks. And then he kind of dawdles on after. And yeah, you see the three of them sort of like... Sorry, the three of them convene with the statue. And then as they kind of walk out of sight, you hear Stradivon's voice echo out, how can I help you? And as they go, Montgomery is kind of waiting for Bendel to pass through. And when Bendel steps through, Mayor Montgomery kind of looks down the corridor, like back down the corridor towards the four of you, and then closes the door.
With that, now that the door is closed, Vanya will immediately say that Mayor Montgomery seemed a bit nervous, shifty even. Something about that library, I think we need to go check.
What's Alfric thinking?
I mean, Alfric knows Mayor Montgomery. Right now, he doesn't know him exceptionally well, but he knows him quite well. Through his father. Is sort of anxiety and shiftiness inherent in this man? Or is this a new behaviour for him?
So, yeah, as a citizen of Seldavon.
Seldabit, yeah.
Mayor Montgomery is relatively new to the role. Like, he hasn't been mayor of Seldavon all that long. He took over from the previous mayor, Archibald, after, there was a whole scandal because Archibald got it was found out that there was tax fraud and corruption, and it was a very scandalous reveal, and Mayor Archibald, ex-Mayor Archibald, was he was fundamentally tarred and feathered and run out of town. It was a very public shooing, and Mayor Montgomery has kind of stepped in his place. And you know that, one of the reasons why Montgomery got the job is because he is known for his sort of by the book nature. So, especially in the aftermath of a tax corruption style fiasco, someone who would dot the I's and cross the T's was perfect. And Mayor Montgomery is a bit of a stickler for crossing T's and dotting I's. Was it unusual behaviour to see from him? Perhaps not. But yeah, he's not usually one for sort of like whispers.
I think Alfric will nod. Say, I think we should look. See what they were doing.
Cal and Rayri, are you retiring to the library along with the others?
Yeah, I think Rayri will love to look in another room. It's all very exciting.
Sure. Well, anyone who wants to go to the library, feel free to move your tokens over there.
I seem to have a ghost token.
Do you now? That's because you're dead. You've been dead all along.
That mold in that room, I just smelt it and just died. Okay.
You'll be happy to know everyone, Beef in the chat has a new theory, but have the four of you got any new theories? Or hunches or suspicions?
I feel it was... I still don't trust the butler. I also have my suspicions about the paladin.
Oh, interesting.
She's too helpful.
So, as the four of you enter into the library, a musty smell pervades this room, where every wall is lined floor to ceiling with bookshelves that are stuffed with all manner of research tomes, historical accounts, diaries, loose notes. There are additional rows of stacks containing newer books, including a particularly large collection of books all authored by Ulick on the nature of planar travel, as well as personal notes, recounts, receipts of trade, contracts, and dissertations. Where would you like to start?
Is there a sign anywhere that any books have sort of been recently taken out? Like, are there any books anywhere that the group before us might have been looking at?
Give me a...
Can I use an experience of well-read?
You can.
I know my way around the library.
You absolutely can. So that will cost you one of your 5 hope.
Mm-hmm.
But then that will give you an extra +2 in this roll. Yeah, absolutely. Well read. You're in your element in this library.
Yes.
I'm going to say dealer's choice of instinct or knowledge. Whether you're sort of like perceiving something or analysing the room that you're seeing.
I'll roll on knowledge because my instinct is terrible.
Sure. See.
That is a 1-1.
Okay. It's the worst kind of crit.
But
it's still a crit. So, when you roll a double on the duality dice, it is a crit. So, you immediately go back up to 5 hope because you, whilst having only rolled like a 5 or something, like you've actually aced it. You immediately notice that there is a rather hefty looking book. Like you glance around this room, and the first thing that kind of takes your breath away is just like how well maintained this library is. Like we're not entirely sure if the Elsewhere setting has a Dewey system, but if it does, it originated here. Like everything is catalogued beautifully, everything is pristinely kept in place.
Man after my own heart.
Exactly. Which is immediately then how you are able to notice that there is one rather large book upside down and not fully in on the shelf, like it's been hastily put back.
I'll go now.
And as you pull that out, because you also notice it's completely out of place in terms of like the other books around it, and sort of like you can see some scrolls that have been scrunched up behind it as you pull this book out. The tome, interestingly, is locked. It's got a lock on the front, but it simply says in gold writing on the front, Ledger. Are any of you good with lockpicking? I mean, the lock itself looks rather delicate, so, I mean, you could lockpick. If anyone's able to lockpick, feel free.
I think I could probably. My tinkering is pretty decent.
Okay. I mean, in which case, yeah, if you want to unlock it, by all means, give me a finesse.
Fab. So, seeing that it's a locked book, I think Rayri just to Alfric.
Gimme.
Just
He hands it down.
And she looks at it and a 14. Kind of just like, and then just gets like a little like hairpin out of a bun, made of some kind of adamantium, so it doesn't melt in her lava hair, and just start just.
Okay. So presumably the other three of you watch as Rayri hands this book to Vinny, who just like holds it in his mouth.
Just holds it open
like a vice, and then you, like with a satisfying click, the clasp on the front of the book pops up, and you're able to open it without kind of damaging or destroying the lock.
Nice. That was with hope, by the way.
With hope, yes, it was. So you go up to 4.
It's just opens it, hoping to find another beautiful ring.
Inside, you find no ring. Instead, you find a extremely comprehensive record of finances. In and out, in and out, in and out. And, like, perhaps there's a part of you that rolls your eyes, but anyone else who's looking at it, you realise that this is a ledger of all of the archmage. Like, it's the financial Bible kind of thing. It's the home of the archmage's finances. But as you look through them, you notice that towards the end, like where the pages stop being filled out, the Archmage is actually in a lot of debt. Like, significantly so. And you notice that the most significant debts owed by the Archmage are to the town of Seldavon. Mostly in unpaid taxes and for like IOUs for material components for a slew of recent experiments and research.
Yeah, so like Rayri's just kind of flicking through these pages. She's going, oh, debts, more, oh, lots of debts. And just kind of like flaps the paperwork at everyone else and said, oh no, that was quite a lot of money. Maybe that mayor is a bit pissed off with him.
Yeah, we're talking.
He hasn't paid taxes for a long time.
Like, Cal, you take one glance at it and it's more money than you could imagine earning in an extremely long time, even with like a relatively successful military career of sorts. Like, it's a lot of money that this Archmage owes to the local town. Alfred, and you see like this there, like, you know that Montgomery's been chasing taxes, and it looks like, you know, the mayor was one of the main culprits for the black hole in the financial ledgers. So, as you find this, who's doing what else? Are there any other investigations? Actually, you rolled a crit, didn't you? Alongside the where on the shelf that now has a hole in it where this ledger was stuffed. Alfric, you also notice that there are a number of what appear to be handwritten diaries. That, out of curiosity, given that you're in your safe space right here, like you find yourself just sort of like picking up and having a look through, and like glancing through the handwritten tomes, like they read like fantasy stories based on Ulick's adventures. As he kind of details his various kind of exploits and expeditions, both before and after primarily before the war, to be fair. But yeah, one of it, like you flick to one part and it speaks of an underwater city. You flick to another, it speaks of a temple that he attacked and looted. You flicked to another, to a derelict haunted mansion, haunted castle that he explored. But like as you glance at the final kind of entries, he see like post War of Heavens. It would seem that in his kind of isolation since the war, he's become a lot more introspective. He expresses a rare bit of remorse for his attack on that temple. Especially as he couldn't end up harvesting the power like he wanted to. Yeah. Is there anything that any of you are doing in the library?
So, let me get this straight. Let's say this mayor is a suspect because of this ledger, right? But no matter, is he really going to kill an archmage over this book? I mean, also, you think, how tall is the archmage compared to little sprite? Like,
What are you saying? You said I could beat someone up? You said I could murder someone?
You, yes. Him, no.
I mean, did you see where he was stabbed? Was it
around the torso
asking,
area?
but-
Yeah,
I just-
short enough sprite.
You would need a stepladder to get that high up and shank.
Oh, maybe he's got a twin. Maybe there's two of them and they were
I-
on shoulders.
I just think it seems a bit dubious of, like, from my perspective, this thing we have on Gwendolyn is a bit more tactile. You know, he's like, oh, Gwendolyn, I missed you. And she's like, oh, yes, I missed you too. Oh, oops.
Nah, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense at all, man. Here,
Makes lots of sense.
I agree.
you agree? What? It doesn't make sense, or it does make sense?
They were in love. I don't think she would have killed him.
Yeah, but you see that he was apologizing, and on the back of that note, she was like, well, stuff you.
Yeah, she gave back the ring. She wasn't like, I'm gonna give back the ring and then I'm gonna do a murder.
Maybe what he did to her isn't, she didn't want to give him forgiveness, and instead she wanted revenge for whatever he did.
Right.
Everyone,
Okay.
roll me. In fact, no, we won't have to roll. It's a bit pointless. As the four of you are speculating in the library, Everything in the room suddenly jumps as there is a loud bang somewhere in the mansion. And like the floor shakes, the wall shakes, like dust billows out of some of the bookshelves and then begins floating down on top of you. But yeah, there's been a bang somewhere in the mansion.
I guess we better go and see what that was.
Yes.
And I just start bolting it towards the center area.
Sure. As you leave the library, you notice that the laboratory in front of you seems okay. The doors along the corridor to the bedrooms all appear to be closed.
Ray, keep an eye on that book, by the way. Might be useful.
She's put it into Vinny's side satchel. Oh.
I'm picturing it bigger than Vinny. Like, he's like...
As you kind of arrive in the foyer, you see, like, you hear the sounds of Stradivon kind of standing in the doorway to the dining room, stood alongside Valana, and Valana sort of like looks at you and, what in the heavens was that? She says, and the four of you, as you glance around, you notice that the door to the Archmage's bedroom is open, and there appears to be some greenish, blackish smoke seeping out from the top of the doorframe.
Is it coming from the bedroom?
I guess so. We start coming over to go have a look.
Okay.
You're gonna go have a look.
Cal,
Be careful.
as you step into the room, an eerie quiet hangs. As you maneuver over the bloody rug, you can see in the corner there are two bodies lying on the floor, surrounded by dark green scorch marks. You see the forms of Mayor Montgomery with his head against a marble, against the corner of, with his head like he's laid crumpled by the desk, and the bust of the Archmage lying nearby with blood streaked across its side, where it would seem that the bust has been knocked from the table on top of the Terran Sprite's head. And Bendel is lying in a mound of curtains against the far wall. Agathar is nowhere to be seen. But between the two bodies, on the far wall, like on the wall opposite Bendel, there is a scorch mark along the floor and the walls. And the portrait of the young Lady Gwendolen is in a broken frame on the ground, and embedded in the wall behind it is a safe.
We didn't look behind that picture, did we?
What do you do?
Is the safe open?
It is not.
So just to clarify, does it look like Bendel has been near the safe?
Looking at it, given that he's got scorch marks on him, it would seem that something has exploded, centered on this safe, and has thrown the goblin across the room. But he's sort of like, he had enough clear air that when he hit carpet and then slid, and he's crumpled in a pile against the opposite wall.
So,
but Mayor Montgomery, from his positioning, it's clear that the explosion has launched him back into the desk, which has caused the bust to tip down and land on his head. and there is a growing pool of blood emerging from Mayor Montgomery's skull.
We quickly go check the bodies to make sure that whether they're able to be stabilized or not.
Okay.
Or if they're dead.
Who's checking who?
I'll go to the goblin, I suppose, or...
I'll check the mayor.
Okay. Alfric, as you rush over to Mayor Montgomery, it's a gruesome sight to see the small form of this Terran sprite lying next to this large marble bust, which is almost as large as his torso, and sort of the nose and eyebrow ridge is stained with the sprite's blood where it's clearly impacted, and it only takes you a few moments to verify that the sprite is dead. Vanier, as you rush over to Bendel, as you turn him over, he is still and limp. Chuck me an instinct, I reckon.
Okay. Yeah, let's do this. Bow! And, what's my plus? A 10. So 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 10 with hope.
10 with hope.
And I will take that hope.
Okay. As you turn the elderly goblin over and sort of scoop him up slightly, you place your ear close to his mouth and you feel an ever so faint breath against your ear and cheek. And whilst the goblin's face is scorched, it seems that whilst gravely injured, Bendel is still alive.
Is he trying to say anything in that moment?
He appears to be absolutely sparked out. He is currently unconscious. By the divines, what's happened in here? Says the paladin as she steps into the doorway.
He's still alive. Can you help him?
Bring him to the parlour. We'll do what we can, she says. And as she takes a step back, and Vanier, you carry Bendel out of the room, Alfric, you are left kneeling alongside the corpse of the mayor of your town. And Cal and Rayri, your eyes are fixed on the blast marks emitting from this safe. And with that, we'll call it there. So, that is that for another session. The plot thickens. I can see from the chat that we have dashed Nate's theories. And you're absolutely right, Nate. I never kill my favourites.
Yeah.
I seemingly only horribly maim them. But yes, the plot thickens. There is a part of me that would be really interested to hear what your new theories are, given that, there's been another death. Dum dum dum. So, the question's on everyone's mind. Will Bendel be okay? What caused the explosion? Where is Agatha? Where is the chef? What's happening? You'll have to tune in to the next episode to find out, won't you? See? That's how it works. Where's my... Here it is. So, thank you, everyone, for playing. I hope you enjoyed. I hope your brains are wonderfully ticking over. And I'm heartily looking forward to any speculations that you have over the next fortnight until we next play. And thank you all for watching. Hit the like button. if you liked it, which, I mean, come on, even if you didn't like it, hit the like button anyway. And comment down below on your theories after this little plot revelation. Let's get my words out. And to see the conclusion to this mystery, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon for notifications when we release new uploads, because they happen super frequently. We're going to be back in a fortnight's time. And yeah, I'm just really excited for this. Can you tell I'm a bit sleepy? Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for playing. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.